Hey guys, today on People Now, we go inside Today Show host Hoda Kotb's new life as a mom of two in our People cover story.
Our royal baby watch continues with Harry and Meghan's visit from the Queen.
We knew pretty quickly that it wasn't going well.
A People Now exclusive, Alec Baldwin tells us how he and wife Viola are moving forward after a miscarriage and what they're planning next.
What you mean we don't drink?
Queen Latifah is here bringing the laughs and telling us how she's shedding light on some powerful young filmmakers.
Hannah Murray and Marianne Rendon are here talking about the twisted world of Charles Manson and their new movie, Charlie Says.
It's live today on People Now.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to People Now. Great show today.
Yeah, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Since it is Wednesday, you know what that means. We are taking a look at this week's People cover story, Hoda Kotb, opening up about her new life as a mom of two. Hoda revealing on the Today Show in April that she had adopted a second daughter named Hope Catherine. Since then, she's realized how much of an impact adopting baby Hope has had on her family. She says, quote, "I just can't believe how in a blink, life changes. All of a sudden, there are two babies in this house. I'm just overwhelmed with joy." I'd say overwhelmed with maybe some other things too. While Hoda and her boyfriend Joel Schiffman are as happy as can be now, the Today Show anchor says that adopting Hope Catherine was a long time coming. After adopting their older daughter Haley Joy around Valentine's Day of 2017, the couple was determined to expand their family even more. Hoda says, "I wanted another child, and I also thought Haley needs somebody to witness her life all the way through." So the couple applied for a second adoption in November of that year and began the waiting game. Fast forward 17 long months later, and they finally got the call that they had been hoping for. Now stick around, guys. We've got even more on Hoda's growing family and how big sis Haley is bonding with baby Hope. Really cute stories here. That's coming up later on in the show. All right, Queen Elizabeth has paid a visit to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at the newly renovated Frogmore Cottage, officially being given the royal tour of the expecting couple's revamped home. Now, if you remember, the 93-year-old monarch actually gave that cottage to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Nice gift. That cottage, which was a former staff residence, has now been transformed into a single-family home with about 5 bedrooms as the Duke and Duchess await the royal baby. And we all await the royal baby as well, very anxiously. Insiders tell People that the couple have been overseeing last-minute touches, including bookcases, a custom kitchen and dining room, adding that Harry plans to entertain and host some hunting parties. How very British and royal of him. The new home is about 25 miles outside London on the grounds of Windsor Castle, one of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's favorite royal residences. The property surrounding the cottage is perfect for welcoming a newborn. Acres of lush gardens, green fields, a serene lake. Should make for a peaceful homecoming for them. The Queen isn't the only member of the royal family, though, to stop by the cottage. Meghan and Harry recently hosted Kate Middleton and Prince William, who stopped by after Easter church services in April. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, also flew over from Los Angeles in time for the Easter holiday, of course, wanting to be close by her daughter as her due date approaches. Speaking of anxiously awaiting the royal baby, it seems like the more time that goes by, the more baby name predictions keep swirling around. People are getting into this. We want to know what you think Harry and Meghan will name their baby in our People poll.
So the betting odds are on the couple having a girl. Has not been confirmed yet, but if they do have a girl, do you think they'll name her Elizabeth, Diana, Grace, or something else? Vote in our People poll or just tweet us your answer with the hashtag PeopleNow.
Diana's been a heavy contender.
That's
I was contending that it would go middle name Diana at best.
Yeah, Diana
like
for her first name, I think it's a lot of pressure. I don't know.
And according to our expert, didn't we land on it being a boy based on some of our fun little like?
Oh no, I think it was a girl. We did.
Was it a girl?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see what happens, and we're going to check in on your answers, what you think in a little bit. For now, though, let's move on to this. Early in 2019, Sam Smith came out as gender non-binary. Now Smith, who currently opts for male pronouns, is speaking out about all of it in a brand new interview with British GQ. He reveals, quote, "Some days I've got my manly side, some days I've got my womanly side, but it's when I'm in the middle of that switch that I get really, really depressed and sad because I don't know who I am or where I am or what I'm doing, and I feel very misunderstood by myself." He adds, "I realize that's because I don't fit into either." Now, since discovering this new way to explain his gender identity, Smith has felt relieved but cautious as he navigates defining his experience to others. Smith's also revealing what his mom said about his coming out as non-binary. She told him, quote, "I'm so relieved that you and me and your whole family have a way to explain this because it's also been eating me up your whole life." In that interview, Smith explains, "I'm also very scared because I've lived my life as a minority and now it makes me scared because I'm trying to explain it to people around me and they don't understand. It feels like a new conversation, but I'm now learning it isn't a new conversation and it's been around for so long." That was his quote. Smith initially revealed his non-binary identity in March of 2019 on Jamila Jamil's debut episode of her Instagram show, I Weigh Interviews. Sam Smith was calm, vulnerable, and incredibly honest throughout the clip, explaining how he learned about and later identified with the non-binary community. Take a look.
When I saw the word non-binary, genderqueer, and I read into it and I heard these people speaking, I was like, that is me.
Wow, all right, so Sam Smith's full interview with British GQ will be out on Friday. Let's move on to this. Alec Baldwin is opening up to people now about his wife Hilaria's recent miscarriage. Hilaria Baldwin candidly revealed on social media that she suffered a miscarriage in early April. We asked Alec how she's doing today and how he worked through all of that as well. Watch.
She was very upset for a while, but you know, we knew pretty quickly that it wasn't going well. You know, heartbeats and sonograms and things like that. My wife and I have had babies. You know, like my wife is GM, and we have an assembly line, and they've been coming off the assembly line, a new model, pretty briskly, and so when this didn't go right, we knew right away because it just wasn't like the other ones. But I think that, you know, when your wife tells you she's going to have a baby, and you lock into that idea, there's a kind of a zone you enter, and when then they tell you that's not going to work out, it was sad. It did break my heart a little bit. But I think my wife, knowing my wife, is, you know, we're not done.
Yeah.
So,
She well today?
Oh, she's great. Yeah, she's great.
So Hilaria Baldwin has been sharing her journey on Instagram of her miscarriage and then the aftermath. 2 weeks after she underwent a D&C procedure following her confirmation the previous day that she had miscarried, Hilaria shared a heartbreaking message on Instagram alongside a video showing an early ultrasound of her baby. She said in part, quote, "Since so many of you have been asking, I want to tell you that I'm doing well. It's been 2 weeks since the D&C and I'm physically starting to feel like myself again. Emotionally, I'm okay too. When we choose to become parents, we take a big risk with our hearts. Never do we love so intensely, and this is scary, but so worth it." Hilaria chose to focus on the positive side of things in her life. After the miscarriage was confirmed, she shared a photo of her family on Instagram with the caption saying in part, "There was no heartbeat today at my scan, so it's over, but I have some pretty strong and amazing heartbeats right here." So she's staying strong through that whole thing. Glad to see that they're doing well and that we can expect their family to continue to expand if the plan goes well, according to Alec there.
Yeah, a lot of kids there.
Yeah, right. That's maybe on the way. We'll keep tabs on that. Let's move on to this. Viola Davis recently revealed that she's been diagnosed with prediabetes. Now she's on a mission to raise awareness. Prediabetes is a condition that puts Viola at risk for type 2 diabetes. She was diagnosed back in 2016 after a routine blood test. Now she's lending her voice to a new documentary, A Touch of Sugar, which explores the escalating health crisis surrounding type 2 diabetes. Here's a quick look at that documentary.
More than 30 million American adults are living with diabetes, and 90 to 95% have type 2 diabetes.
When you have diabetes, you have to do what you have to do. I mean, it's not a disease that goes away. It's 365 days a year, 24 hours a day.
And Viola says that narrating this documentary was, quote, "a great opportunity for me to help people understand how to manage and live with the disease." Really great that she's shedding light on this. Two of those people are Viola's sisters, Dolores Grant and Diane Davis-Wright, who have been living with type 2 diabetes for the past 25 years. Diabetes has been a part of Viola's family for a long time. Viola saying that her paternal grandmother lost her life and her aunt lost both legs due to the disease. Since Viola's 2016 diagnosis, she's continued her commitment to regular exercise and a healthy diet, as well as frequent monitoring of her glucose levels. She also reveals that she's now even closer to her sisters. They're all united in fighting this disease. Viola says this, "A huge part of why I did this is because of my love for my daughters. I did it as a support for them." But Viola's prime motivation to raise awareness is her 8-year-old daughter. Genesis, she says, "I want to live for my daughter." Very powerful stuff there, and Viola has talked about how once someone kind of gets diagnosed for diabetes, nothing really happens. It all kind of becomes this process you have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people with diabetes, and I love that Viola is speaking out about it, raising awareness, because we forget that those people that have diabetes are dealing with this every single day. It doesn't go away.
It's a huge problem. My wife's a dietitian. When she worked in a hospital, she dealt with this all the time. Some people consider it an epidemic, so good for her for shedding light on this. And Andrea, you have more for us in Star Treks.
I do. We are kicking off Star Treks today with one singer who may or may not be ready to get wifed up. Watch this.
So you're saying this is my... there's a chance she's going to ask me to marry her.
Yes.
You're saying with this clock.
Yeah, with this clock.
Okay, see how I flipped it around and put it on her?
Yeah. So now that she knows that you're waiting for her to ask, now that she sees this, she'll ask you.
Ellen is at it again. When Blake Shelton stopped by The Ellen Show on Wednesday, the two talked about his super cute romance with girlfriend Gwen Stefani. But Ellen threw him a curveball when she brought up the time she gifted Jennifer Lopez with the clock for Alex Rodriguez to let him know the marriage clock was ticking. So not long after, A-Rod actually proposed to J-Lo. So naturally, Ellen took some credit for giving him that final push. Now she's at it again with Blake and Gwen. So funny. So they've been dating for quite some time now. So Ellen's little present is pretty appropriate, I think. And I also think that I like the idea of Gwen proposing to Blake instead of the other way around. It's only a matter of time before we find out if matchmaker Ellen's gift will create some engagement magic. We will definitely keep you posted on that. All right, now take a look at this.
I feel a lot more confident in myself, even though at the time you're not really understanding why things happen the way they happen. When you come out on the other side, you still might not exactly understand why, but you come out on the other side stronger.
Carrie Underwood opened up to Natalie Morales on the Today Show Wednesday morning, talking about her journey after a roller coaster of a few years, including 3 miscarriages, an accident that left her wrist and face injured, and the birth of her second child. She's been through a lot. Very emotional stuff here, but in the interview, she was noticeably calm and centered, even smiling while recalling how much stronger it all made her. Now, with a 4-month-old baby boy, Carrie has taken control of her life again, getting in shape and hitting the road to perform. While the trauma she's endured is not lost on the 36-year-old, she described one upside of her hardships was connecting and finding comfort with women who've experienced similar heartache.
I've definitely had people, come up to me on the street and just cry,
Yeah. Carrie continued to explain the connection she feels with these strangers, realizing that none of them are alone in the physical or emotional struggles they've endured on the journey to start a family. Now, Carrie married her husband, former NHL player Mike Fisher, in 2010. Their first son, Isaiah Michael Fisher, was born in 2015, and they welcomed baby Jacob Ryan in January. Just weeks before giving birth, Carrie shared a very sweet picture of her snuggled up on the couch with Isaiah, who's patiently waiting for the arrival of his little brother. I love that picture that she shared. Now, just a few months later, she's getting back on the road, this time snapping photos of her baby's adorable little feet, saying, "I want to eat these toes." I mean, they're cute. I don't know if I want to eat them, but they're very, very cute. Meanwhile, Carrie's been hitting the gym hard to get back in shape for a new tour. On top of that, she's been designing an athletic apparel line as well. She's been very open about the struggle to get back in shape after giving birth and how difficult it is to not be very critical of her body. As she said on Instagram, she said, "I'm going to take it day by day, smile at the girl in the mirror, and work out because I love this body and all it has done and will continue to do." That's right, girl. Now, Carrie Underwood's Cry Pretty Tour 360 starts Wednesday night in North Carolina, and she'll be touring all over North America into October. So check out CarrieUnderwoodOfficial.com for all the details. All right, so Kylie Jenner is dropping hints that she wants baby number 2 with Travis Scott. In her latest Instagram post, the beauty mogul shared photos of her and Travis to wish him a happy 28th birthday. And in honor of his special day, Kylie also wanted her man to know she's ready for baby number 2. She wrote, "Watching you evolve into the partner, friend, son, and father you are today has been so fulfilling. My real-life bestie and hubby all wrapped into one." And she added, "I love you and I'm so, so proud of you. Happy, happy birthday. Let's bleep around and have another baby." It's pretty funny. Then Travis responded, he says, "I love you, mama, wifey. We shall rage forever." Now, the couple already share a 14-month-old daughter, Stormy, so another addition to the family would make them a family of 4. There's no confirmation about whether Kylie was serious or if Travis would be down. I think it could happen. I think it's gonna happen. The Instagram post was only one of the ways Kylie celebrated Travis's birthday. Over the weekend, she appeared to buy out a billboard in Los Angeles featuring an adorable photo of her and Stormy. The message on the billboard read, "Happy birthday, Daddy. Love, Mommy and Stormy." Back in February, there were rumors swirling that Travis may have cheated on Kylie, but a rep for Travis told people he denies those claims. We're happy to see those two in a pretty good place, and happy birthday to Travis. And those are your Star Tracks for today.
Glad they're doing well.
Yeah, me too.
All right, guys, stay with us. Ryan Reynolds reveals how he and Blake Lively are taking on parenting and how he wants to do things differently than his own dad. Pretty interesting stuff. Plus, we've got the stars of the new Charles Manson movie, Charlie Says, Hannah Murray and Marianne Rendon. They'll be joining us live in just a bit. Stick around.
All right, we are anxiously awaiting the royal baby. I've been asking what you think Harry and Meghan will name their new bundle of joy if it's a girl. That's what odds makers are predicting. I think we're gonna go with that.
Let's
I think
see
it's a
the
girl.
poll. A lot of people love Diana.
Yeah, I think that's...
Just personally, I think it would be a weird move.
I think so too.
You know, I think that'd be a tough sell for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Grace is a close second. Let's do Grace
We
Diana.
have some write-in votes though. Lizzie says Alexandra Diana or Carolyn Diana.
See, I like that, the middle.
Yeah.
Kath Clark's picks are Grace Alexandra Francis or Alexander Spencer Phillip.
Oh, if it's a boy.
Ooh,
I like the name Spencer.
Me
Irina
too.
says, I'm thinking Mary, the Queen's grandmother's name. Oh.
Is that because
she
we like
knows.
Spencer Pratt and his crystals? Is that it?
Maybe, I don't know. She also says she'll be surprised if it's Diana. She calls it Still So Raw, which, I mean, it is a lot of pressure for a baby.
Well, I mean, being born into the royal family, no matter what your name, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's
Here we
true.
go,
But then
right?
on top of that, well,
So
we'll
get
see.
ready. Keep voting in our People poll. Now let's move on to this.
So in this week's issue of People, Diane Keaton is reflecting on dating, fame, family, and her beckoning call to join Instagram. The Oscar award-winning actress shares stories we can all learn from, even if she herself says she doesn't know anything and hasn't learned anything during her 73 years of life. I kind of find that hard to believe, though.
She's been through some stuff. I think she's got some wisdom. The one thing, though, that she knows for sure, that aging is hard. Period. That's how she puts it. That's her take.
She's really open in this. Diana also gets candid about her brother Randy Hall's battle with dementia. She says, quote, I don't know if he knows who I am. Diane says her brother, who is 71, has always suffered from mental issues. Nobody could quite ever figure it out. She says he lived a hard life and that before developing dementia, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And she says these days he's unable to walk or talk. And she plans to write a book about Randy one day.
Yeah, luckily, though, Randy has his sisters, Diane and Dory. They visit their brother every Sunday at a senior living facility. Nothing like the family support that's very important, especially in a situation like this. And Diane tells People she spent a lot of time there with her brother and that she has come to like the facility quite a lot. She says that it has some fabulous characters. As she put it, they are far from weird.
Yeah, but Diane isn't exactly worried about things that are weird because she calls herself an oddball. She tells People that she's glad she never got married. And this, I actually really like this story. She recalls a time she was in high school. A boy walked up to her and said, one day you're going to make a good wife. She says that right after his comment, she thought, I don't want to be a wife. No.
Yeah, remember Diane has dated an array of famous men. Woody Allen, who she starred with in the movie Annie Hall, one of her biggest, most famous hits. There was also Warren Beatty and Al Pacino. So she's had some exciting love life.
Yeah, she didn't find the guy, and I think that's totally fine.
Yeah.
She tells People when she was young, she was, quote, looking to be loved by extraordinary people. Now she wishes she wasn't so seduced by talent.
She says when you're both doing the same job, it's not so great. Despite her feelings about marriage, Diane does suggest she should have just found a nice human being or family guy.
Yeah, she thinks she's the only actress in her generation that has been single all of her life. But Diane is still starring in major Hollywood films. She has a new movie coming out called Palms. She looks great. She looks happy.
By the way, Palms looks great, too.
Yeah, it does.
Can't wait to see that. Diane proves that you don't need marriage to have a fulfilling life. She's doing her thing.
Yeah.
Happy for her.
All right, in this week's People, Today Show anchor Hoda Kotb is giving us an inside peek at life with her newly expanded family, including how older daughter Haley Joy is doing as a big sister.
So Hoda says that Haley is a super protective big sister to their new addition, baby Hope Catherine. She admits that she's still trying to figure out how to get Haley situated to the new dynamic, which is obviously difficult. I remember when we had our second, it changes everything. That first kid's used to getting all the attention.
A whole nother human in your life. Though Hope Catherine may have been a surprise to us, turns out Hoda was prepping little Haley for a possible new addition all along. So she and her boyfriend Joel would tell Haley, pretty soon you're going to have a baby brother or a baby sister. And then Haley would walk around saying, baby brother coming, baby sister coming, which I think is really cute.
That's so adorable. Hoda says that Haley's loving her new role as a big sister to Hope. She says in the morning when I get her, she's like, I want to see my baby sister.
Yeah, how do you prepare for that?
Well, for us, it was, telling our oldest, hey, you can help out and you get to be part of this whole process, and kind of enrolling her early really helped to some degree, but then it doesn't take long where it's just like, get her out of here. You know what I mean? Like, it's my time.
Yeah, and Hoda admits that she forgot a lot about mothering a baby. She had to Google how to hold a baby, how to swaddle a baby. She even Googled how to put on a baby's pajamas. Do you forget that quickly?
I don't know. When it comes to parenting, Hoda says she's going to try really hard not to label her daughters as something. She says girls can be smart and athletic and shy and all kinds of things.
Yes, they can. She recalls she used to get picked on when she was a young girl, but this is her quote, I know that all of those life experiences turned me into a stronger human. I want my girls to be tough too. I want tough young girls who are also the most empathetic ones in the room. I love that.
I love her. I love her smile. I love her
They're
ethic
so
about raising kids.
cute.
All of it.
Oh, she's such a good mom.
Let's talk about this. Ryan Reynolds.
Being hilarious and handsome made Ryan Reynolds famous, but the star tells People that raising his two daughters, 4-year-old James and 2-year-old Inez with Blake Lively, is a role of a lifetime.
So how do he and Blake balance working in Hollywood with marriage and family? Well, according to Ryan, it's by working as a unit. They don't do movies at the same time. The kids travel with them so the family can stay together as much as possible.
Yeah, he says that whether they're in Spain or Utah, as long as the family's together, that's where home is. Which
Yeah.
I really like. Oh, actors have such busy schedules because they're always flying everywhere.
Yeah, it leads to a lot of travel by doing this. Ryan jokes that when he's on a plane with his kids, he asks the attendants if he can leave the aircraft. He said 99% of the time they've told him to remain seated, and he just sits there and, quote, longs for the sweet release of death.
I mean, that
as he
seems like a
travels with
total
kids.
nightmare traveling with
Oh
children.
I'm not joking. When I travel alone versus with kids, being alone feels like the biggest relief. I'm worried about, and he probably is too, the kids not only being loud, but like kicking the seats and doing all this stuff. Everything about it just makes you
yeah.
cringe, right?
Nobody wants kids on their
It's
planes.
tough.
He says fatherhood is the best thing that ever happened to him. I love that. He's had all this success in Hollywood, but nothing compares to being a dad.
So with Mother's Day coming soon, he says he's just going to keep it simple. His idea of simple, though, not quite what we had in mind. He says just some skydiving, maybe some skywriting.
Super simple.
I'm going to see if I can find one of those blimps that say something nice. That's what he
Yeah,
said.
that doesn't sound very super casual. Ryan also tells people he doesn't want to repeat the parenting mistakes that his dad made. He believes he'll be able to tackle fatherhood better than his own father did. He says that his mom is great, so is his dad to some extent. He also made some mistakes.
It's good to know that he's able to kind of dissect all that,
Yeah.
right? And see the problems and try to fix them and do it differently. He believes that he's processed those mistakes in a way that allowed him to actually learn from them as he moves forward. So.
Yeah. Now these days, Ryan Reynolds is best known for playing the foul-mouthed, red-suited superhero Deadpool. So not really a family movie.
Not a family movie at all. Don't be fooled. You probably know that by now, though. Definitely not suitable for his biggest fans, who are his two daughters. So he's super excited to be part of a project that his whole family can enjoy. He is voicing Pikachu in the family-friendly movie Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, and it's kind of unusual for him to be in a movie his wife and kids can enjoy. So I think it's really awesome that he's doing this. It's really cool to see his girls pumped up.
Yeah, he tells people that seeing the look on his daughter's faces when they watch the trailer or any commercial for the movie has been really amazing. Kind of a new experience for him, right? Because they usually get on board with it. So good for them.
Regardless of how we met, get ready for something spectacular. My YouTube channel.
There's Adam Rippon officially launching his YouTube channel last week. We are here for it.
The former Olympian is dropping new vlogs every Monday and Friday, and he's got new episodes of his interview series, Break the Ice, every Wednesday.
Adam's bringing his guests into his world and onto the ice. Watch this.
We get on the ice, chat for a little bit, and then I'll stop the interview, take them to the middle, and try to teach them like an element. Usually it goes pretty well, but we have a few like disasters.
Yeah, right.
Which is great.
That's even better, right?
Yeah.
It's like a backwards twerk. Who surprised you most with the skating skills?
Molly Burke. She's this really incredible YouTuber, and she's blind. And I was like, I have no idea what to expect. And I mean, you'll see when you see our episode together, but she really she's probably, maybe if not one of the best, but the best skater that we had.
Now, fans have already gotten to see Adam's boyfriend, JP, in the first couple of vlogs, but Adam reveals why we may never see the two hit the ice together.
He's never skated.
Ever?
At all.
Ever.
No, so in Finland, they skate as part of their gym class.
Okay.
Which that would have been
like
nice.
in school. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I played Catholic school kickball. If you can imagine, it wasn't.
That's not going to lead to anything.
No, it didn't. It led me to like literally completely opposite, away. Yeah, so but he said that when he was little, he used to like do everything he could to like get out of it. And I'm like, well, little did you know, I'm here to like haunt you. But he has not been skating for like years.
Wow. That's pretty funny. One person that I would love to see, though, in Adam's videos is his former Dancing with the Stars partner, Jenna Johnson. She's incredible. She is now Jenna Johnson Schmierkowski, of course.
She is. Jenna and Val tied the knot earlier in April with Adam in the bridal party, so he told us his favorite part of the special day.
Maybe one of the most beautiful days I've ever experienced in my entire life. Both Jenna and Val are some of the most beautiful people on the inside and the outside.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments of the whole experience was we're all in a hotel room together. This is before they walked the aisle. And they were signing their marriage papers, and it's all of Val's groomsmen and all of Jenna's brides, women, and me are just sitting, and we're eating fries because we haven't eaten anything all day. And we're just eating fries, and they're signing their marriage papers, and I'm like, this is it. Now it's done, and the rest is just a show. Mm-hmm. And it was just really fun because it felt very intimate, and It was just beautiful. I mean, you've seen the pictures.
Yeah,
Unreal.
We've seen him, we love him, and Adam wasn't the only Dancing with the Stars alum at the wedding. There was a mini reunion of both pros and stars at the reception. Super fun.
Now, with all those dancers in the same room, we had to get the inside scoop on what went down at the reception.
Not only there were like just Dancing with the Stars there were so many dancers there in general, but here's the thing. Wedding dancing is a different level category of dancing. Me, myself, I'm a very intense wedding dancer. Next day, my neck is always sore, maybe sprained, can't move it.
So you're like the most aggressive wedding dancer.
Yes.
Did anyone else, any of the pros from Dancing with the Stars, almost rival you for that title?
I think one of Jenna's bridesmaids, Gabby Diaz from So You Think You Can Dance, we danced together maybe most of the night. And it was really fun because JP, my boyfriend, and Gabby's boyfriend were just sitting together, and we were going crazy. And like the next day, we texted each other and like, "Can you move your neck?" And we were like, "No."
I love that the neck is what hurts so much.
It's
yeah,
like
was that
so
the move?
many. Oh yeah.
Just kind of
a lot of like
whipping
neck,
it around.
Yeah, because sometimes you can't. You're stuck in a 1x1.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. Where are you gonna go?
You can only go around where you are.
It's
so
all
it's
right
like
there.
yeah.
And Squeaky told me, nobody belongs to anybody here, except Charlie. We all belong to Charlie. I thought that was pretty far out. Then she says, if you're lucky, he'll pick you next. Every girl should have a daddy like Charlie.
I mean, does it get any creepier than that?
I don't
Maybe
think
not.
so.
In a good way. That's what the point is. Charlie Says focuses on the three women who committed the 1969 Manson family murders, told from their point of view. Joining us are two of the movie stars, Hannah Murray and Marianne Rendon. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much.
You're so lovely in person and not creepy, and that's a relief. I'll be honest. Coming in, I wasn't sure, and so thank you for being nice and normal.
This is such a chilling film. I mean, talking about it, it seems like Charles Manson has total control over these girls to even get them to the point of murdering people. I mean, you two know the story well. Why do you think he was able to have that full control?
He was a master manipulator, and they were in a cult, so it was a very slow process of conditioning to do these things for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are so many different factors that go into it. These were very young women, they were very vulnerable women. He played on all their insecurities, their body insecurities, I mean, all kinds of, like, it's very dark and it's very insidious, everything that he did. And they were also taking copious amounts of LSD on a regular basis.
That really played into this whole dynamic, right? Like everyone wasn't in their right mind, and so the manipulation was even able to thrive even more. Let's leave the seriousness of that for a second and talk about the Skype interview for you, Hannah. Right? There's like this Skype interview, you had to like scream a few lines, got a little crazy. Tell us about that.
So I was at my parents' house back home in England, and I was Skyping with Mary, and I had to yell a lot. And I don't know why, like both my parents, they must have heard me screaming in an American accent and not in my own voice, but they were both really, really worried about me. And like,
so you didn't give a heads up that this was coming?
No, I did. I said I'm doing an audition,
okay.
like meeting, thing on Skype, and they said okay. And then they were like, were they being really mean to you? What did they say to you that made you yell? Like, why did you not piece this together?
And to think of what was going through their minds that would have, like, what would someone have had to do on a Skype to elicit that response is really shocking and sad. Thank God it was okay.
I think it shows that my performance was convincing.
It was.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Marianne, you were living in Vancouver when you found out you got the part.
Yeah.
What was your reaction? And then how did you kind of start prepping right away?
Yeah, I was so excited. I'm such a fan of Mary's. I have such respect for her, and I immediately ordered Susan Atkins' memoir and started to hear from her perspective. And we read Carleen Faith's book about her work with the women in prison.
Yeah, and reading some of the firsthand accounts of the events as they unfolded. That had to be so chilling to read the words in detail.
Yeah, I appreciated it that it wasn't like we were reading from Helter Skelter that was sort of sensationalized. It was more from their direct experience.
Yeah, I think I only really wanted to work with kind of sources that were people who knew the women directly or their own voices, because otherwise, I think because we were trying to tell a new version of this story.
And it makes sense that would be important to you because in watching, we really get to know who these women were, not sort of, as you said, the sensationalized version of them, and it's a much more human aspect, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're witnessing that they've made bad decisions, but you're also seeing them as human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had some very violent scenes. So tell us a little bit about that experience and filming those.
I think it was in Tex Watson's memoir that that event actually happened at a dinner table where Susan had said something somewhat provocative, and Charlie was in the zone of starting to become violent and obsessive and beginning the military training and sleeplessness, and it was really challenging to. Matt and I already worked together, so we had already had rapport. We worked on Maplethorpe together, so I felt very safe with him. But I remember after the first take, I was like, I had to tell my body it was okay, because you're acting, but you don't always know. Your body doesn't always know.
Yeah, and you're going through some intense stuff.
Yeah.
Separate from that, you told our producer that there was really a sisterhood that developed on set.
Oh, yeah,
and I would imagine that would help in getting out of that intense feeling, right?
Yeah, and I was in a room full of women witnessing, and the whole creative team are women, so I felt incredibly safe.
How did that bond happen so quickly between all
I
of
wish
you?
I knew.
I think everyone was just so excited about the project, and everyone really wanted to dive in and give it their all, and so we just felt like a team sort of from the first moment we met, and it was very special.
A lot of shared interests.
Yeah.
And probably knowing you're going to dive into some of these dark places, you kind of want to kind of go in that together.
Yeah, they were a family. I mean, they became one mind, so we had to very quickly let go of our inhibitions. And now I sound like I'm in a cult.
Yeah, right. Just kidding. As we go.
Yeah.
Well, the film's really incredible, so
Thank
congrats
you.
on that. I do want to talk a little bit about Game of Thrones, Hannah. Gilly, such a lovable character, and we all saw the Battle of Winterfell. When you signed on, did you know that your character was going to last this long?
No, I mean, when I signed on, no one knew the show was going to last this long, let alone kind of how specific characters were going to go. I joined in season 2, and I was told she was in season 2 and would have a bigger role in season 3. And nothing was mentioned beyond that. So the fact that she's come this far is really
Congrats
amazing.
on surviving that battle. I think people thought a lot of the faves are going to be goners.
And by the way, hilarious to me, you just watched your first episode this past week, and you started current. Like you started with the last episode.
We're really going to watch the Battle of Winterfell, the biggest battle.
Did you help bring her up to speed at all, or how did that play out for you?
You had watched it.
I just had some really good friends who were patient enough to fill me in.
And were you patient enough to just be quiet and wait to the end and ask 1,000 questions?
It was shot so beautifully, and I was drawn in. I mean, it's an incredible series, and so by the end of it, everyone's seen it, but by the end of it, I was screaming. I was so validated that.
It was a great episode, but speaking of how it was shot, there were a lot of people, I don't know if you guys saw online, a lot of people were complaining it was very dark, literally dark, it was hard to see. Did you have that experience?
People are talking about the darkness, but I feel like it was very cinematic.
Do you have a message for that, for people that didn't like how dark it was?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know how dark or not it is, but I think that episode was shot primarily at night, and it's about this kind of incredibly dark, night of the soul kind of experience, and so I think it seems to feel appropriate.
So effective when all of the flames went out at once in that first charge.
By the way, I'm surprised to hear you haven't seen it.
I've been traveling a lot.
Do you generally watch right away, or what's
I've just been traveling a lot, so I've seen episode 1 at our New York premiere, and I haven't had time to catch up.
Oh my goodness.
Really? Wow. Is there gonna be a time where you actually binge watch?
I do prefer to binge watch it. Most of the other seasons I've watched kind of all in one go over a couple of days. So I think I'd rather wait until it's all out and then I can watch it in one go.
Game of Thrones is such a phenomenon. What is the main thing that people ask when they come up to you on the street or something?
People ask about the kids a lot, the babies that I work with. I think people are very invested in them. So yeah, it's usually about that.
It's interesting that, you think about being a fan favorite. Fans had been waiting since '96. The first book was released to find out who Jon Snow's mother was. You get that critical piece of evidence and know what's going on.
Yeah.
How did that feel to play such a pivotal part in the unveiling of the story?
It felt pretty great.
Yeah.
Because I had read, when I was reading the books, I suspected that was the case. There were a few kind of hints dropped when you're reading the books, so I felt smug that I had sort of worked it out on my own and then got to be
Yeah.
the means of revealing it.
Marianne, I'm sorry, none of this makes sense to you. I'm
Well,
so
you know
sorry.
what?
I'm enjoying
You know,
every
a lot of
minute.
people are probably jealous though because you can now go back and binge from the beginning, and they have so much amazing content.
I know. Now I can just stay home for 3 months and watch 6 years of
Last question on this: can you tease anything about the next episode, rest of the season?
Obviously not.
No, give us. We expected
But how
every
would you
spoiler.
describe it? How would you describe it in 3 words?
The next episode? I can't actually remember what happened.
I don't remember.
Like,
Those are the 3
The
words.
rest of the season.
Yeah, I
the
don't
rest of the
remember.
season. The finale.
I think it's very big and very shocking. The final season as a whole.
And everyone dies. Marianne, let's talk about this. Imposter. So much love for this on Netflix. We were talking about this just before we started. I mean, Twitter's lighting up about it. There's a petition for another season. That's got to feel good.
It feels great. I mean, it happened for Brooklyn Nine-Nine and for Lucifer, so.
Do you feel like it's going to happen?
I have no idea. I sure hope so.
Are you guys all of the cast kind of like on a text thread talking about like, hey, let's do this?
I mean, I think we're just trying to be respectful about how what will be for ourselves, but we're a little excited.
Everyone on board if it does move forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Hannah, you actually are an Imposters fan, right?
Yeah, I watched the first
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, I loved Hannah and Bridge End.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful film, so.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though. Then you get to work together on this. So, was there a moment when you first met on set where you're like, oh, I watched you in this, or I like you in that?
I watched Bridge End while we were shooting. I was a little scared to watch anything of Hannah's because I feel like I'd be too starstruck.
Yeah, I watched Imposters after we worked together. So.
I feel like it's kind of written in the stars at this point that you should join Imposter Season 3, should it happen. Let's seal the deal.
I'm trying to think, like, who would you play?
Let's give it a hard yes now, and then officially, that smile is
My girlfriend.
I just want to work with
My new
Marianne.
girlfriend.
Okay, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
thank
so
you.
lovely.
Pleasure to talk to you.
And you guys can catch Hannah and Marianne in Charlie Says when it releases in theaters nationwide May 10th.
All right, so Queen Latifah is doing all she can to get women from all different backgrounds behind the camera. The icon is promoting a new program called the Queen Collective Initiative with Procter & Gamble and Tribeca Studios.
Latifah is hoping the 2 talented directors she stopped by with are going to offer her some great parts in the future. Watch this.
I like acting in movies, and I figured if I gave some more directors an opportunity, then maybe they'd hire me one day, you know what I mean?
It's job security, really.
Job security, that's the whole point. So, you know, the more female directors, the more opportunity to hire Queen Latifah. So, you know, I said, let me get with my friend Mark Pritchard over at Procter & Gamble. He has the same mindset as me, you know, seriously though, but we really just wanted to make a difference in terms of who's behind that camera. And when we see that the disparity between male and female in a business that is supported by 51% women, as well as advertising is more than 50% women, we needed to make a difference.
B. Monet is a filmmaker from Silver Spring, Maryland, who chose to make a doc about a woman who used dance therapy to cope with the trauma that she dealt with after an attack. It's called Ballet After Dark and made its debut at Tribeca. Now, B wants to show more than just trauma, though. Listen to this.
It's just very important for me to know that women of color can not only be victims of certain things, but also to be victors. I think I'm just very interested in showing that despite the trauma that we face, that we don't have to be that event, that we're so much greater than that. So for me, it was just very important to show that.
And Haley Elizabeth Anderson is a filmmaker from Houston, Texas, whose doc is true to her own life, a teen struggling in homelessness. Watch.
I had experienced homelessness when I was young, and so I found a family, 2 young girls and a mother. They were struggling, and I just really wanted to show, you know, what a family like this goes through, because I think oftentimes when you're in that situation, you feel invisible, and to be made visible, I think it's very important.
Really powerful stories, really powerful women here. Both docs are streaming on Hulu, and Queen Latifah, pretty excited at the outcome of this project so far.
I feel blessed watching both of their films. They touched me emotionally, and they made me feel something, and that's what I want when I watch a movie. You know, I love movies. I love this business. I love what we do, and I love the documentary. I love going on a journey and being made to feel something. And one of the greatest things I felt was a greater empathy, a greater sense of compassion, and I felt invigorated. I felt like, okay, I gotta do more.
I think she's doing more than most.
Yeah.
And the Queen has had quite the illustrious career, so what would her younger self say to her now? I love this, watch.
She'll be like, what you mean we don't drink? What happened to the broom? What happened to you? What'd you do? Where'd we go wrong?
Where did we mess up?
You mean we didn't invest in Patron? Oh, damn. I don't know what young Queen Latifah would think of me, but I think she'd probably be glad to know we're still around, we're still relevant and doing our thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can still make it happen and still make it happen for ourselves and for others, you know? But I don't think I would have changed too much back then. I think who I am right now is the journey that I took to get here. So I don't think I would change too much.
Yeah, we absolutely agree, but we do want one more trip, and yes, I mean girls trip. A couple months ago, Jada Pinkett Smith teased the possibility of shooting in Rio, but wait a second, where did we hear that first?
They know I've been throwing Rio out there from the beginning.
Oh, that's your thing?
That Rio is my thing. I'm not gonna say strictly Rio, but you know, I'm definitely down with South Africa too. I think we can make it happen in either place, you know.
Maybe maybe you can join for a day or two of shooting just to be there.
We might need backup directors, you know, in case our director party's too hard. We got 2 more backup directors. We just jump right in, you know, and take the helm. But I think it would be cool. I mean, everybody's in, you know, everybody is in. Everybody's down for number 2, and from director to writers to us, you know. So we're just waiting for a script.
It was so great having them in.
It really was. Queen Latifah's in this really cool position where she's been such a pop culture icon for so long, super cool, very in touch with what's going on, and also able to use her influence for great stories like this.
Yes, and kind of taking them under her wing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I loved having them. All right, let's take one last look at our People poll. We've been asking what you think Harry and Meghan will name the royal baby. If it's a girl, looks like Diana wins this one.
Grace number 2, Elizabeth number 3.
I feel good about Grace. I love that name.
How about Grace, Elizabeth, Diana? A lot of times I do like a trifecta of names.
Yeah. I'm shocked that the baby isn't here yet.
Well, let me tell you something.
Oh, what
I don't
is
know
it?
if you've been in tune with a little unconfirmed murmuring on the internet.
Okay.
People on Twitter are speculating that the baby has already been born because the Queen went to visit, William and Kate went to visit, and it's all just like rumor.
But we were promised, weren't we promised that we were going to find out when she was in labor?
But the thought being like, oh, secretly had it, they're getting all the visits in from the Queen and everyone else, and then they're going to just drop it, and boom,
Really?
here's the news. That's just this, you know, people speculate about everything, the names,
yeah.
Oh, boy or girl, did they know, did they slip, and did they say it?
Okay, either way, it's going to come soon if it's not already here.
Yeah, I've been texting with Imogen Lloyd-Webber, our Royals correspondent here at People Now.
She actually is very in the know, though.
She is, and she's like, look, I don't think it's happened. She says she's feeling slightly sick because she's just up all night waiting to get the news because her life is really
everyone's talking
dialed
about
into that.
Yeah.
But according to her, it hasn't happened yet.
All right, but
Anyway.
you know, we will keep you posted.
We will.
And we'll be back with another question of the day tomorrow, so tune in for that.
Coming up tomorrow, Tiffany Thiessen and her hubby Brady Smith, they're here talking all about their new children's book called You're Missing It, telling you to put down your cell phone. Tiffany shares how her late co-star Luke Perry took her under his wing as well.
Plus, newly minted Tony nominee Lily Cooper from the newly Tony-nominated Broadway show Tootsie joins us. It's a really good show. We both saw it.
We're super pumped for her. Totally deserving that nom. That show had so much recognition, and it's great.
Yeah. All right, thanks for watching. For now, we leave you with one last thing from Lonnie Love. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey you guys, I'm Lonnie Love and this is one last thing. The last thing I splurged on was a car. I had a jalopy for years and I said, let me go ahead and get a car. And I finally got a car. It is a luxury vehicle. And I'm like, ooh, this is how it is? My last date night, of course, was with James. And we just went to a simple dinner, candlelight, and ate and talked and laughed, and it was great. The last time I laughed so hard I cried was with Tamara telling me she was going to a concert with her husband, and it was like an old head concert and she didn't understand who the person was, and I was trying to describe it to her because I knew, and she didn't, and she just kept having this look on her face, and I just like laughed really, really hard because she didn't understand.